Welcome to Midi Assist. It's like the Midi Assist, but it's a me. Just to be clear before I start, it's hard to explain this game without showing gameplay, so that's most of the video. First I'll give some tips and basic info, then I'll go over some extra info, and finally I'll do some games with commentary, timestamps in the description. If you have any questions about this game, just put them in the comments and I'll get back to you. I'll make a follow-up video if needed, so keep an eye out. Alright, let's start with the basic info and tips. So most people go into 6-ball thinking the shapes are too punishing and wow, this normal CPU is easy. Then you get to impossible and it's already got a shape, what the? Here's a few ideas I stand by. You need quick setups and use the hard drop. Even the impossible CPU never uses the hard drop. This is your biggest advantage over the CPU. Clearing shapes when you're behind acts as a comeback mechanic. All balls of that colour disappear and it often leads to massive combos which, ironically, put you in the lead. And using this, you can even place some colours adjacent as a setup later on to make this comeback even more assured. Basically, if you're one away from a shape and the CPU dumps on it, don't worry, it could be useful later. As an extra idea, say you were one ball away from a red pyramid. It might be a good idea to not make shapes with reds while that setup's there. If you did, the setup would disappear. Alright, as this is a speedrunning guide, I'm going to quickly show the strat for finish. That's where you lose the game. It's pretty easy, you just do this exact setup without clearing balls, go against normal CPU and set the handicap to on player 1 so you have 2 less lines. It's on screen now if you want to follow it. The leaderboard's also in the description if you want the strat on its own. Anyway, back on track. Let's quickly recap what the game tells you. Strings of 6+ will clear. You can rotate left and right. This is important to get quick at the game. Fast fall by pressing down and hard drop by pressing up. You win when the opponent overflows. Balls can still disappear once the line is crossed, so don't think it's over too early. Forming shapes will drop balls on your opponent. Hexagons drop 36, that's 6 hexagons. Pyramids drop 24, that's 4 pyramids. And lines drop 19, that's 2 full lines across the playing field. Clearing shapes will clear all balls of the same colour, and keep balls of the same colour close to form extra combos. Looking even closer at this, here's some extra details. After a bit of experimentation, I'm confident there's no bag system like in Tetris, where each shape is randomised an equal number of times. Any colour combo can appear, and that includes doubles and triples of the same colour. Your opponent is given the exact same sequence of colours in every game. Rotating left and right is useful. It takes 6 presses to rotate 360 degrees, so it almost matters here more than in Tetris. You want to pay attention to your opponent's side. If the impossible CPU is close to a shape, maybe stop dropping pieces. You're probably just filling up your side with more garbage that's getting dumped on soon anyway, unless you're confident you can clear a shape first. It all depends on the situation. Be super careful if you lose. It costs 14 seconds, which is less than ideal in a speedrun. I usually pause the game when I go above the line and try to spot any 6s that will clear before unpausing. If there aren't any, it's probably best to just hit start over. Lastly, the game speeds up over time. Not many games reach a point where you notice this, especially in a speedrun. Okay, so that's enough of the tips. Now I'm going to go into some actual examples and I'm going to give some commentary during those games, so I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. I'm now on the game. This is not as scripted as the first part, so yeah, goodness knows how this is going to go. I'm just going to do some quick games against normal first because it's a lot easier to showcase stuff against normal. We'll just have handicap off for now. So what I wanted to do first, obviously I've not really got a major idea of what I want to show off, but I wanted to show off the basic setups. So for hexagons, you can obviously do like the CPU is trying to do here. The CPU is setting up a hexagon, so you want to put 2 like that. And then if you've got a single yellow, so we're going for a yellow hexagon here. And I'm going pretty slow because normal is generally this slow, like it just messed up that hexagon there. So right now I'm going for a hexagon, so you'll need 2 on the bottom, and then you'll need a 1, and then a different colour 1, and then 1 of the same colour again, and then 2 on the top. So I'll drop that there, so it splits them up. So the red will go to the right, and the yellow goes to the left. Okay, so I can see in the next bar that purple's coming up, so just as an extra setup, I'm also going to go for a purple. Possibly go for a pyramid over there because it's a lot easier to do that. So we've got another yellow. I'll go for the part of the hexagon there. Pretty simple to put that one down. And here it's going to be quite hard for me to get the setup for the purple. I think if I do this... I messed it up there, unfortunately. But that's okay. We always go for pyramids as backups. Mainly hexagons first because, as I mentioned before, they drop the most pieces. So if I drop the yellow there, and then want to discard that, we've got another yellow here. So that's going to drop 36. And as you can see, even though I'm commentating over this part, it is the CPU is actually quite far behind, to be honest. So here, you can see the blues, there are already 5 blues down. So I am now 2 away from getting a pyramid. If I put 1 blue down, that pyramid would disappear. That setup would disappear. But if I put those 2 blues in, obviously the CPU's just finished now, so I can't do that. But if I were to put those 2 blues in, it would do the pyramid. So basically, if you're close to a setup and you have 5 pieces, like I just did there, you're obviously going to need to wait for a double to be able to finish that one off. So for this one, I'm going to go for pyramids now. I'm going to focus on pyramids. They're a lot safer to go for, but obviously they send less pieces. They only send 24 compared to 36 from a hexagon. So if I split up the blues there, I could technically go for a hexagon here, quite a good hexagon setup. But obviously with pyramids, they're quite versatile. You can do a 1, 2, 3, like I'm going to do here, and you can put those like that, and then I'm going to go for a hexagon over here as well. And then I'm also going to set up another pyramid here because it's not really in the way of the others. So here I'm going to drop that blue there. And here's the interesting setup. So you can actually go for a hexagon if you manage to get a double blue. It comes down to RNG quite a lot of the time, but it can be the difference between a good or a bad run. Obviously we're only going to get a single blue here, but I've seen a lot of my master runs be quite successful because of that. So just watch out for that as well. So here we're going to be able to finish off another pyramid setup. So that was a 1, 2, 3 there. And then I can go for a purple setup. So as you can see, the CPU is already kind of struggling now. But notice how I'm going for different color setups. I'm not going for a purple line and a purple pyramid at the same time, because once you clear out one of them, the other setup isn't going to work. So there was actually quite a nice combo. And there you go, there's the CPU done. So we're going to go for lines now. Lines are a lot simpler. Obviously, you can line one up diagonally or horizontally. Horizontally is a much easier setup to do. They're much easier to get at the start of a game, because once you are playing, especially against Amazing or Impossible, if you're going for a line, it's going to be really hard to get one against them. So I'm going to go for a straight line here. So it's pretty easy to set up. The only problem with this is that it's quite hard to set up other stuff. You need to be aware that, yeah, so obviously I could either only go... So lines aren't really the best one to be sending. We are getting so many purples and greens here. I might have to give up on that line because, as you can see, obviously now we can't get that line. But just as a backup here, see, we've got 5 purples, so we actually do need a double purple here to get this pyramid, which we did luckily get. So instead, what I'll go for now is a yellow line instead, just to showcase it. So here it is. We're managing to get that, split the green off down on the right-hand side, and then get that yellow line. So the line, if we look on the other side, the other shapes send randomly, but as you could see there, they send mostly in pairs. So each colour is paired up, so it does play quite risky. Because it can give someone a combo, especially Impossible CPU. They will line up colours in that way, and that's a lot of the time why you'll be able to beat normal and hard a lot easier than Impossible, because you might not realise it, but basically the harder CPUs put same colours next to each other a lot of the time, kind of like how I am as well, subconsciously really. That's why it's so hard to explain this game, because I sort of do stuff subconsciously and it's really not easy to explain. So I'm just going to do a quick game against normal and show you how it works in a speedrun sense. So if I were to go fast here, I would just do that, form a hexagon here. Right, the problem is I can't really do much with a triple. Triples are actually not that beneficial for a setup. So yeah, as you can see, I'm falling victim to my own tips here. So yeah, setting up a blue pyramid and a hexagon there. Okay, I'm going to go for the green pyramid as well. And then if I do that, I can still go for the pyramid, the hexagon. So here, this is going to split the purple and the blue down exactly like that. So I'm going to be able to do that. And this is actually a really nice setup. Oh no, it's the wrong way around. That's a shame. Okay, that's fine. We'll get a hexagon and we're going to be able to go for a green hexagon. Actually, that's better. That was actually quite lucky there. Not planned at all. So if I do that, and you'll want to be really careful with splitting up, as I just did with the red and the blue. It is really finicky to split those up how I just did, but with a lot of practice you will get better at that. So here I'm actually going to be able to form two different shapes at once, and the blues clearing are not going to off-put me from my red pyramid. We are going to be finished here though. So that is green. Oh, sorry, that's green. That is normal CPU done. See, all of this being in one take. A bit of a problem. So now we're going to play against Amazing, because hard is pretty much the same thing. There's not really a massive difference between the two. Hard puts down pieces a little bit faster, but you generally won't have much more of a problem with hard. So I'm going to go for a green setup here and a yellow setup there. So I'm obviously going to need to play a lot faster against Amazing, because I have lost quite a few good runs to the Amazing CPU as well. I'm going to split those up and get a purple pyramid at the same time. And then we're going to go for a yellow hexagon too. So now I can put that blue one in the middle to stop it from ruining the pyramid, ruining the hexagon. Obviously you can get a hexagon with 7 pieces of the same colour, but as I mentioned before, you would need a double. Otherwise, once you reach 6 pieces, then it would clear out instantly, so you don't want to do that. Okay, so here, that's messed up the thing. I can go for a line though, so we'll do that. See, that's where lines are quite useful, because now it's probably going to block up their side quite a lot. And I'm going to go for a hexagon. I'm actually struggling quite a lot here. Like, the CPU is actually managing to give me a run for my money. And that hexagon should be able to finish it off. But as you can see, they have been doing a lot of different setups, so they might be able to clear some out for combos. Yeah, they managed to get 2 6s there. So as I mentioned before, you've got to wait until you don't see any more 6s before you restart the game from a loss. Because if you restart too early, then you might have sacrificed the winning game. So impossible, I'm going to put the handicap on. That might help actually. So the handicap on CPU for a win or master speedrun is going to reduce their lines by 2. And for a finished speedrun, as I mentioned before, it's going to reduce my lines by 2. So I doubt I'm going to win first try while commentating, but we'll give it a go. So a lot of the time the CPU will get a setup basically at the same time as you. And so I've got the extra piece there and I'm going to get dumped on. So I want to go for a pyramid setup here. And obviously I need to be discarding pieces really quickly against the impossible. So there you go, they've messed up their setup there, and that's actually going to really help me out. So I'm going to go for 2 pyramids at the same time. We're going to go for... Oh my goodness, right. So here's the problem. Now we're going to have to deal with that. And this is where it gets quite difficult. So I'm going to have to try and go for a yellow pyramid here. And yeah, so I'm going to lose here. Now what I do here is try and see if I've got any 6s. I don't think I do, but just to play on. Yeah. So if I did reset there, obviously I wouldn't have lost the how many seconds was it? It's 14 seconds you lose if you manage to lose a game there. I'm going to do a quick game against Impossible again, just to quickly see if I can get a win. But yeah, it's relatively difficult, even if you are fully focused. So I would be surprised if I can. So there you go. There's the pyramid, and actually, okay, it's barely going to be able to get that set up. And if I quickly do that... Okay, unfortunately we missed the hexagon setup there. That's a shame. We're going to go for... I can't really do much with that. We're going to go for a green line. There it is. I don't think they're going to be able to get a setup from that, so that's quite good. And, okay, this is quite difficult now again. Red line, possibly. Okay, so now I know I'm going to get dumped on. I'm just going to wait until I do. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep dumping pieces on myself. And it's not going to be beneficial. So yeah, here you go. We've lost again. And as you can see, the CPU is getting a lot of combos here. So they just got a pyramid. We got quite lucky getting that line though, but I don't think it's going to help us majorly, because there's a hexagon and a line, and that's probably going to finish me off. So, although I lost against Impossible a few times, you can check the IL leaderboards in the description, obviously the master runs and things like that. I would really recommend my master run where I get the massive combo as well. Definitely pay attention to how I play that one out. And obviously it doesn't really matter against Impossible or Amazing unless you're doing a master run. So I did think this would be quite helpful though for anyone that is struggling with 6-ball puzzle. I know that's a lot of people. It's really hard to get into this game and get good at it really. But with a bit of practice, that's really the only thing I can recommend. As you can see, played it 111 times now. And that's before the counter maxed out at 99. So yeah, let me know if there's anything you want me to go over and I'll do a second video, or I'll just explain it to you in the comments. But it is really hard to explain 6-ball puzzle with words, so that's why I thought I'd do a practical video instead. Subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm going to do a ton more, guys. I've got an all games finished guide coming up soon as well. So thank you for watching, and peace.